Hey everyone, I'm your host Tom Shaughnessy, and welcome back to Chain Reaction, a research-driven podcast that's a part of Delphi Digital. If you're not on Delphi's research portal, you're missing out on the critical analysis read by the top minds in the crypto space, so be sure to check it out. One quick housekeeping item: nothing said on this podcast is a solicitation to buy or sell any security or token, or to make any financial decisions. I may personally hold tokens mentioned on the podcast, and you can view our show notes below for our complete disclosures. I want to give a quick shout out to our wonderful sponsor, eToro. The best way to be smart about trading crypto is to use the smartest trading platform. eToro is one of the largest trading platforms in the world, with over $1 trillion in trading volume on the platform per year. U.S. customers can trade the most popular crypto assets with extraordinarily low fees. And if you're not ready to trade yet, you can practice on the platform with their virtual trading feature. Best of all, you can connect with 11 million other eToro traders around the world to discuss trading, charts, and all things crypto. You can create an account at b.tc/eToro reaction or click the link below in your show notes. Just scroll down on your phone, click the eToro link, and it'll bring you right to their website. With that, let's jump into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm thrilled to have on Lior Lamesh, who's the co-founder and CEO of GK8. Lior, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. Actually, it's my first time on this podcast, on podcast in English in general, actually, which is my second language, but I'm sure we will do great.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So, GK8's a pretty state-of-the-art cryptography company. I want to dive into you first. Tell us a bit about your background.
So I actually started with some academic background. I'm holding Bachelor of Computer Science and MBA. But I actually earned my stripes in one of the toughest neighborhoods in the world for cybersecurity in the Israeli Prime Minister's office. I was part of an elite team that protected the strategic assets of Israel from cybersecurity attacks. As you could tell, we were constantly under attack. I was worked together with my co-founder and CTO, Shaughnessy, which is one of the most brilliant people I ever met. This guy did his bachelor at the age of 14, finished first in his class, and did his master right after that with the average of 99. Super brilliant guy. So we used to work together at the same team. We were trained to protect from state-level hackers. That's where I gain most of my cybersecurity expertise.
That's incredible. And just before we dive into some specific questions, what's the elevator pitch or the overview on GK8?
It's a good question. So I'm taking it to tell that we started this journey like 2 years ago when Shachan and I encountered for the first time in the state of the art of the other wallets. And when we saw how it worked and when we saw that it sold 1 million times in 1 year in 2017 and also billions of dollars all around the world, we bought it, and after 4 days, we hacked it. We found some software and hardware vulnerabilities, and what we realized was that there are not real cold wallets in the market. And the reason is that they are all connected to the internet at some point. And then we tried to think if could it be an option to make a fully operational cold wallet with no internet connection at all. And we ended up doing exactly that. And I think that's the thing that's mostly describing how we started our journey and what eventually we reached. And this is the base of all of our story.
Got it. So at the core, you guys are a product and a software company because you're providing basically on-premise hardware and software for the safeguarding of crypto assets?
Actually, the product is combined with hardware and software. To be honest, our secret sauce is software-based only. The reason that we use hardware is in order to meet some more needs and functionalities for enterprises that doesn't need only cybersecurity protection, but also need a product that can meet their compliance and controls needs, their user management and the physical protection that they should have. So we took a very unique way to make communication with the blockchain without being connected to the internet at all. and we use state-of-the-art hardware that should supply additional protection from physical attacks, side channel attacks, and more incredible things that, based on meeting with our clients, we understood that they are very important for them. It's important to understand that this is high-end product, which meant to be used by enterprises that managing a large amount of money. So yeah, we mix hardware and software. Most interesting part is the software.
Got it. That's helpful. And, a huge part of the podcast is having on companies that I think are a little bit under the radar. But I think that you guys fit that mold a bit because, I don't think a ton of people have heard of you in the US, at least. I mean, you guys have some major clients, like, eToro is one of your clients. Could you kind of go into, why eToro chose to work with you guys? Like, what was the deciding factor, or what was the differences?
Actually, we are working for 2 years now. We decided to be in stealth mode for a long time. We just emerged from stealth 2 months ago. The reason that we decided to be in stealth mode is because we realized that we have a very disruptive technology, which is for the first time, we found a way to make all communication process with the blockchain, including creating the transaction data, signing on the transaction data, and sending it to the blockchain in a way that doesn't requiring any internet connection at all. So we decided, first of all, to achieve some significant milestones, such as 5 registered US patents that we have, and achieving huge clients that managing more than $1 billion in cryptocurrencies, such as eToro that you mentioned. And I really appreciate those guys which worked with us since our very early days. And the reason they did it is exactly because of the fact that we found this disruptive way to make blockchain transactions without any potential attack vector. I think that today people claim to have some kind of cold wallets, which can be based on some B2C solutions that using some kind of cables, or more enterprise-oriented solutions that use some kind of HSMs that also connecting using cables and some other bidirectional communication options. And any of them is actually open to potential attack vector, because the blockchain protocols are interactive ones, and you need to be connected to the internet at some point in order to create a valid blockchain transaction. And the unique innovation that we have is that we actually can prove that using our only unidirectional communication, we are not exposed to risks at all. And I think that when we showed to the eToro guys for the first time how we bringing them a product which is completely standalone, and it is magic over there, and without using the product, but only seeing the block explorer on their computer, the transaction was sent. That's where they got it, and that's what made them use the product.
Just before we dive in, it might be helpful. I mean, why would eToro, not go with like Ledger or Coinbase? I mean, there's a lot of like very well-established enterprise institutional grade custodians out now, right? Like you have everyone from Gemini to Zappo to Coinbase to BitGo, and then you also have the Ledgers of the world. I mean, what's like the, I guess, competitive advantage over Ledger specifically, or over, I guess, these enterprise grade custodians?
Right. So eventually there are few types today to manage digital assets. I think we can split it into 2 groups: hot wallets and cold wallets. And our main messaging is that hackers would invest millions to steal billions. And when you use hot wallets, eventually the best thing you can do is only decentralize the risk by use some different accounts, some different private keys. Depends what kind of multisig you use, whether if it's native one or multi-party computation one. And it would be enough for hackers to invest a couple of millions to hack a couple of computers and steal your money. Our basic assumption, based on my experience at least, is that it's not cost more than $1 million to hack any different network out there. And when all I have to do is only to invest a couple of millions to steal billions, I would definitely do that. And when it comes to the cold wallet solution, so eventually we believe that the cold wallets today are not really cold. And the reason is that they are using bidirectional communication to create blockchain transactions. Whether it's explained before, the B2C product that's using micro USB cables, or whether if it's the more enterprise-oriented solutions that mostly using HSMs, or even more the custodian solutions that mostly use some kind of thumb drive or SD cards or QR codes. And each of them is eventually some kind of communication with the internet, which is sometimes directly and sometimes indirectly, but it actually requiring taking data from the internet, which can include malicious code. So I think that our unique value proposition, unlike other solutions out there, which I prefer not to mention specific every name, but you can make your comparisons based on the processes that they do in order to communicate with the blockchain, is exactly that. Is the fact that we can actually prove that using GK8's, your money will be completely secure, as there is no any potential attack vector.
For those new to kind of the security space and the crypto space, when you talk about cutting off that attack vector, I mean, I feel like there's always an attack vector though, right? Because if you have a cold wallet, you're eventually going to have to connect it to the internet to interact with the blockchain. I guess, what's the solution from GK8 that kind of attacks that? Or is that kind of your secret sauce and you can't talk about it?
So yeah, as you could tell, it is our secret sauce. But I can say in very general that while other solution involved internet data, while they want to send transactions, we found a way to avoid internet connection. So all we do is only use unidirectional communication. So even if hacker is sitting on the other side and just waiting for you, you will not be able to attack your device, as there is no physically way to reach it via the internet.
Let's say that you guys become massive, right? Like you guys attract billions and billions in assets stored on your technology. Don't you guys just become the honeypot at the end of the day for hackers? I mean, do you guys become the next target, or how do you think about that?
That's exactly the way that we are thinking. To be honest, we are kind of paranoid in a positive way. And that's exactly, I think, what made us create the perfect product. This is exactly how we think. We exactly think what would do state-level hackers that has millions and even more than that of dollars to spend in order to attack somewhere that they can earn a lot of money. So, of course, it's something that we are thinking about all over the time, and that's why we worked so hard for a long time. And that's what made us to create a very unique disruptive technology, which is using 5 registered patents that you have in the United States to make a real true cold wallet and a real way to manage risks in a way that hackers will not be able to breach, even though they would invest a large amount of money. Yeah, I can even add on top of that as I said before, when you use hot wallets only, eventually the best way you can do things is only decentralize the risk, and it's not going to be enough when the cost effectiveness for hackers to invest only a couple of millions to steal so much money doesn't worth that. And when it comes to the cold wallet, so cold are not really cold, and then you get back to the original problem. So yeah, our core proposition is the technology aspect, and we worked very hard in order to avoid the state level hackers that can invest a large amount of money to steal billions or trillions, and we are ready for that.
For sure. That makes sense. And just zooming out, Lior, I mean, we were kind of going back and forth on topics. And one of the ones that me and you discussed was kind of the ROI for hackers, how, risk management all comes down to that, return on investment for a hacker. How do you kind of think about this when you're approaching your security solutions in the space?
The basic assumption is that every network, every computer out there could be compromised, and you should always have the assumption that it's something that can happen. And my basic assumption is that it would enough to invest 1 million to hack any different network out there, again, based on my personal experience. And when you use hot wallet that's based on only a few different cosigners that should be involved in the process, and it's kind of limited today, it would be enough to invest a couple of millions to steal billions. And when you want to use cold wallets, as I just explained, is not really cold. So it is also hot wallet, and hackers always targeting hot wallet. So by changing the way that hacker could calculating their ROI by using a product that cannot be attacked and secure the majority of the money, while we have second component of the product which can be used for liquidity, and we know how to make automatic reconciliation between them, we kind of change the equation for hackers. And that's what I mean by changing the ROI for hackers.
Got it. So Lior, when you think about cold wallets on the retail level, like Ledger and Trezor and stuff like that, and you kind of talk about how they're not really cold, what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean that like a supercomputer can figure out my private key even though I'm not connected to the internet? Or do you mean that like the USB cable can be hacked or malware can be put on my computer once I connect the cold wallet? I'm just trying to figure out like why the consumer level cold wallet isn't exactly cold.
So it's not only the consumer level, by the way, it's also the enterprise level. And the reason that I'm saying that is because when you call something cold wallet or cold storage, you mean something that's truly never connected to the internet. But the fact that the blockchain protocols are interactive, requiring some interaction with the internet before you can actually create a full transaction process with the blockchain. And the existing solution using some kind of communication with computer that connected to the internet. So even if they're not directly connected to the internet, they are indirectly connected to the internet, which is kind of exactly the same. So if the hacker, the cost effectiveness for hacker would worth that for him to invest some money to research the product, to find vulnerabilities, he will be there and he will do that. And I think that one important thing that everyone should remember is that the way that blockchain work is in a way that it's impossible to reverse transaction. You can't roll back transaction, and it's easier for hacker to lose their tracks. So that's why they will invest so much money to do that, because they know that it's super hard for the victims to get their money back, if any. And once there is potential attack vectors, hackers will be there, and they will use this indirect communication with the internet to find the potential attack vectors, as they use this kind of bidirectional communication, and then they will find a way to break your device and to make it sign on not legitimate transactions. And that's exactly, as I told you, what we did. That's how we started our journey. And that's what incentivized us to do that, because we understand how people think, we understand why it's something that can be compromised. We know how hackers think, and we combined our personal experience with our expertise in cybersecurity to create something that works different.
I guess on that note of hacks, I mean, the most recent one that I could think of off the top of my head was the Binance hack. Happened a couple of months ago. I mean, is this kind of something that you think could have been prevented with your technology, or do you have any other thoughts on kind of what happened there?
Definitely. First of all, I can base my knowledge there on the public things that was published. But as much as I understand, eventually Binance secured the private keys for their API keys that they let their client use in somewhere that is connected to the internet that can be hacked. And if hacker would possessing this computer, where they store those private keys, he could use the API keys in order to fake transactions of Binance clients and then make Binance sign on not legitimate transactions for the hackers. As much as I understand, that was the main problem over there. And I think that if you could do the same process, but storing the private keys for the API keys in somewhere that is truly cold wallet and truly never connected to the internet, again, without compromise on this very important functionality of API keys, you could prevent such kind of attack.
Got it. I guess the other question though is, it's kind of like a stupid question, but Binance has a slush fund to kind of insure against hacks. Do you think that the market is just okay with hacks at this point, considering they've been so many and exchanges are kind of fronting the bill when they get hacked? I'm just wondering, like, what's the drive to adopt GK8's products? Is it like a major Mt. Gox level attack again, or is it more of the world moving towards true decentralization where everyone has their own keys? I'm just wondering, like, what's the movement that kind of moves away from centralized exchanges and centralized custodians to use GK8's products?
I think that eventually no one wants to be hacked. And even if there are insurance services, first of all, they are not necessarily coverage everything. And in addition, you pay a lot of money in order to have this policy. And even then, mostly you participate in order to give money back to your clients. So eventually, even if you have insurance, it's something that somebody at the end pay for that. And I think that if you can create a unique risk-based approach that can make large financial institutions that managing their assets in a centralized way, from the one end to all the majority of the money in a way that cannot be hacked, and on the other way to all small amount of money in somewhere that can be used for liquidation and for high frequency transactions, and still make the cost effectiveness for hackers to attack it that doesn't worth it for them. So you could actually reduce the chance that hackers will attack your device, and you actually reduce the chance that you will eventually need such kind of insurance. And I think that this kind of technology, this kind of approach could also reduce the policy of insurance that will get into the market once they realized where the best risk assessment is. So I think it's kind of a combination of all of them.
Hey everyone, we'll continue this conversation shortly, but first a quick word from our amazing sponsors. Are you interested in getting into the cryptocurrency markets but don't know where to start building your portfolio? We have the answer for you. It's called Copy Trader by eToro. With Copy Trader, you can automatically copy every trade of eToro's top crypto traders at the exact price in real time. No need to study up on markets or develop your own strategies. Simply sign up and copy the trader of your choice. Any profits they make, you do too. With eToro, you get access to the world's most popular cryptocurrencies with transparent trading fees all in one easy-to-use app. Copy the smart money with eToro. Join now at b.tc/eToro reaction, linked in the show notes below. So, Lior, do you think that another major Mt. Gox level hack will happen again if we continue using technology that's not GK8? It's like, if we continue with the technology that's in the market, do you think that there'll be another major or massive hack or a significant flaw that in one of the retail products that affects a wide range of users, whether it be Ledger, MetaMask, or one of those wallets? Like, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, as the market keep going and more money getting into this space, you can hear about a lot of giants that's getting into the market, whether if it's Facebook and Telegram, and some more things that's getting out every day or a couple of days. So when more and more money will be there, that's another incentive for hackers to get into the game. And I believe that the real hackers are yet to come. And when they will be here, when they will realize that it's enough, and that the market is big enough for them to join, they will be there to spend a lot of money in order to earn a lot of money. And then and then the problem will be even worse. And I think that eventually the blockchain technology is existing for a while, but as time goes on, more and more people are going to use it. And it's super important right now to create the most secure, the most fitting infrastructure for those large institutions so they can be ready to the moment that those hackers will join the game.
Got it. And Lior, just looking ahead in the world, I mean, crypto isn't that big, right? We're only 250 billion or 200 billion in market cap. It pales in comparison to traditional finance and global equities, derivatives, et cetera. Do you think that in the future, governments, nation states will deploy meaningful amount of capital to hack or attack blockchain networks or custodians or wallets? Because it seems to me like eventually they will. The space is just too small at this point.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm a real believer in the advantages of blockchain. And I think that if we look at blockchain only in the cryptocurrency space, you're right. Right now, it's limited. I truly believe that it's going to be way bigger. But on the other end, I think that blockchain as technology to manage other kind of sensitive data is something that's going to be commonly used. There are a lot of private blockchains that created and getting more and more be used among a lot of multinational companies that need to use blockchain technology to manage other data that doesn't necessarily only cryptocurrencies. I think that in addition, there is a huge market of securities, stocks, real estates that's going to be digitalized like every other thing today in the technology industry. And I'm also sure that a significant part of that are going to be based on blockchain. So what I think is that once governments or multinational companies that managing very sensitive data, which is not necessarily only cryptocurrency, so one day will use blockchain for that, they will need the best technology to manage those data and to manage the private keys at the end, because the infrastructure for blockchain as data structure in general, in large, and the infrastructure for blockchain that's managing cryptocurrency as a specific use case is eventually the same. So our bigger vision is to create a full infrastructure to manage data over the blockchain in large based on the unique technology that we have. So for your questions, as time go on, as will be more and more usages, as more and more sensitive data will be managed over the blockchain, hackers and state-level hackers would definitely invest a lot of money to have it. Blockchain is not a magic. Even though it's a decentralized data structure, the Achilles heel of this technology is the end users, whether if it's in enterprises that holding private keys that's in charge of a large amount of money or a large amount of other data. If hacker would possess those end users, will be able to communicate with the blockchain on behalf of them and steal their data or steal their money. So you should have the best technology for the future, which is not going to be only blockchain for cryptocurrency.
Lior, just so that we could get to the other questions, I have one larger question, just zooming out. You guys attracted some serious talent to your lead investors and advisors. I mean, Marius is the founder and chairman of Checkpoint, which is a $20 billion company. You got Professor Iran Tromer, who's the Zcash founding scientist. And then you also got Major General Ilian Levinon, definitely botched his name, but he's the former head of cybersecurity at the Israeli security agency. I mean, that's a really strong group of people for a project that was, in stealth for so long. I mean, how did you attract this quality and this caliber of people to the project? Because it's pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree with every word. I think that those are amazing guys. The thing is that we positioned ourselves as a cybersecurity company, and not necessarily only cryptocurrency company back in time when we started our journey. And as a cybersecurity company, we realized that the best investor go to market with would be somebody with the same influence on the market, such as the founder of Checkpoint. So we worked very hard to have him on board, and it's definitely helpful. I think it's amazing that we represented also by him. He's the one that actually led the previous round. Ran mostly validating our innovations. Our team is really brilliant team, and we have very cool stuff here. And we only published the nutshell so far. There's so much that we are going to do very soon. So you're probably going to hear a lot of more interesting things. So yeah, we worked hard. We were very patient for a long time to keep everything internally. And after we emerged from stealth, we just let the world to see what we got. And as I said, it's only the nutshell. And those guys, we used them during the last 2 years in order to make sure that we choose the right path, that our technology is fully tested, that our product market fit is the best thing that we can do based on a lot of experiences that those guys got. I'm very honored to have them as our partners.
That's excellent. And Lior, just closing, what's next for GK8? I mean, is there anything on the roadmap that you want to discuss? Are there any events you're looking forward to, or anything in the future?
I actually just came back from San Francisco Blockchain Week. I was participated there on the Custodian panel along with the giants from Anchorage, BitGo, and Gemini. And right now, our strategy is to enlarge our clients list and to meet all of the existing clients' needs as well. I can tell you very honest that since we emerged from stealth, there are a lot of new requirements from different people, whether if they are clients or even new investors that want to join our journey. So we mainly focus to meet the new needs. We focus to build the next generation of the blockchain needs and industry based on what I just shared before. Not only cryptocurrencies. So yeah, there is the near future, which is the cryptocurrency, and the next future, which is more vested things. So that's what we do.
That's awesome. And Lior, I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I try and find some, more under the radar companies. You guys came out of stealth, which is awesome, but I appreciate it given, English isn't even your first language. So I appreciate your time and the customers you've attracted like eToro and the team that you have with, Checkpoint, yourself and others kind of on board. Checkpoint's founder, along with your new security that kind of replaces a full custody system with this unreachable security layers is really interesting. So I really appreciate your time coming on today.
Sure. Thank you so much for your words, and thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. It's very excited for me to participate in that. Yes, it's amazing. And I'm looking forward to the next future to show the world what we got.
Awesome. Lior, thanks so much. And until next time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please support the show by hitting subscribe on iTunes, writing a review, or sharing this episode on Twitter and LinkedIn. And stay tuned for our next episode out soon.